you need to get some level of proof. That's what I would sit Kev down and say, Kev, of course you're scared of doing it. You've never done it. And you have built it up to this giant monster that it is not. Your imagination is powerful. And right now you're using it in a way to anchor you as opposed to catapult you.
The how is the success in the doom loop. Let's just create a success loop. There's going to be failure in there. There's going to be pain in there. You can't have joy, success, fulfillment, and extraordinary results without sadness, pain, failure, rejection. Like, it's a pendulum.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1994, 1994, an easier time. The doom loop versus the success loop. So, back in the day, back in the early days of, it was the Hyperconscious podcast at this point, we were creating frameworks. And I didn't know what a framework was. So Alan's like, we need some frameworks, man. I was like, yeah, cool. What is that, though? Yeah, I'm all for it, but what is that, though? And he's like, well, it's like I don't know, it's kind of like
It's like a circle.
It's like a circle. It's like a systemized explanation of what something is. You didn't say that. That's what I think it is. I was like, okay. And one of the things that we were very, very focused on in the very beginning, and we still are today, is helping people build self-belief. I realized pretty early on, and you and I together, that the reason I never built self-belief is because I didn't think I had enough belief to do something. I didn't do it. It proved to me that I wasn't capable. And it caught me in this loop. And I think we talked about it recently where I said the only way to get over a fear is to kind of go through the fear. That is the success loop. But the opposite of that is the doom loop. Now, you have dug deeper into this than I, so I'm going to kick it to you. But I just wanted to show off a little bit about I know things too, also.
Kev created something called the confidence conundrum.
It was world class. Then Alan was like, yeah, it's not confusing enough. I'm going to add 12 more steps to it. Okay, sure.
Now I try to use a star, 5-pointed star, for all my loops. There's a book by Stephen Hawking called A Brief History of Time. And Stephen Hawking is one of the most renowned intelligent scientists of history. You know Stephen Hawking?
I do. What
Nice.
was his scientific study? Like, what was his thing?
Astrology.
Stars,
space. But it was based on math. When you read A Brief History of Time, it's actually pretty awesome how simple, this might be me projecting. I think he breaks it down into a very simple way. I think he's a good writer. I really do. I've enjoyed it. But anyways, so the point of this is in his analysis of the cosmos, he says that everything in physics, so physics was his thing, a lot of things, but physics, everything in physics, which is the study of the physical world, comes down to a few basic principles. Everything comes down to simple rules. When you put humans in the mix, it gets less simple. And so my scientist, if that's what you want to call it, I identify as someone who's a scientist, which just means you do the scientific method. You just are constantly observing and learning and drawing experiments and trying and failing and it doesn't matter. What does matter is I've spent my entire life contemplating myself, others, and the world to some extent, more now as an adult, but really my whole life. And I break things down into these simple principles that I think apply to everyone. But they apply to everyone in a little bit of a different way depending on your core wound. Okay, so here we go. So I have a client, shout out to you. I got to give him a shout out too because this client has done 3 calls in a row with no voice and still showed up to the coaching with the chat.
Respect.
That's what I'm saying. So
Also,
you know who you are.
Get that voice back.
He has it back now, I think.
Congrats.
Imagine 3 hours with me where he's just typing in the chat. I mean, I already talk too much.
I can't imagine it because I've been there. So
It was fucking awesome. I'm just saying. So we came up with this doom loop and this success loop. And we're just going to use this as an example because there's doom loops and success loops and everything. Seriously. So the doom loop for Kevin's confidence conundrum is I don't believe in myself, therefore I don't set a goal, therefore I don't get out of my comfort zone, therefore I prove to myself I'm not good, therefore I never believe in myself.
Yep.
And then rinse and repeat, aka you are stuck. The doom loop is always associated with being stuck, feeling like you're stuck, feeling like you can't get out, feeling like there's no way out. Then the success loop is the opposite. It's a growth loop. It's an upward trajectory. It's an aspirational, goal-oriented thing. Okay, so here we go. So I don't want anyone to be offended by this. We did this behind the scenes. I didn't intend to share it back then. At the end of the day, this is one of the doom loops in personal finance. But I guess my concern is that you'll be offended, but my job is not to offend anyone. My goal is not to offend anyone. My goal is to help. So if anyone identifies being stuck in this doom loop, just let me preface this with, you're not alone. I would say the majority of the population is in this doom loop financially, and I just want to preface it, okay? All right, so step one in this doom loop, this is a doom loop, this is where people get stuck in personal finance, is you are emotionally immature and think short term. Number two, you spend money on short-term pleasure and shiny objects. Number three, you increase social status temporarily and get social validation. You buy those new shoes, that new car, that new Beamer. Kidding.
Concert tickets, that's a big one for people out there. Concert tickets, yeah.
Number four, you feel significant, special, and it feels like you're making progress. But number five, you're actually slowly building up debt that's harder and harder to climb out of over time. And then you rinse and repeat. That's an example of a personal finance doom loop. And that client came to me and said, hey, can we create a doom loop and a success loop for finance? Because I'm a finance coach. He's getting certified right now. He's almost done. And he's going to be a finance coach. He's actually got a couple clients right now. Okay, number one of the success loop. So this is the success loop. So everyone think about a time in your life, maybe now, where you were stuck in that doom loop. Okay, this is the alternative equation, alternative option. Number one, you are emotionally mature and a rational adult who thinks long-term. Tons of fun there. Number two, you invest money on personal growth, tools for productivity, and long-term strategic investments. Number three, you temporarily decrease social status and external validation, and everyone thinks you're a fucking loser. I'm kidding.
Really selling it.
Yeah, really selling it. But seriously, I mean, Emilia and I share a car, right? That's not cool, but it is cool because we save a ton of money. And anyways, all right, number four, you feel alone but deeply fulfilled since you know you're making exponential long-term progress. And then number five, you slowly grow into someone of massive value and you build wealth that starts to compound exponentially. So Emilia and I are building wealth, and it might not look cool to share a car, especially for a man. A man's supposed to have his own car. I could care less. And ultimately, we're building wealth and we're saving money on insurance and on the car payment and. And I'm not saying anyone else needs to share a car. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you want to build in a success loop, it almost always is temporary social ostracization, for lack of better phrasing. I have two clients. We did relationship talks coaching earlier today. They're a married couple, and the wife, soon-to-be wife actually, in this relationship, they're engaged, wants to go to Africa on a horse safari. Looks awesome. It's going to cost a lot of money, and they have dreams. They have a 10-year roadmap. Our coaching sounds awesome, I'm sure. But ultimately, every one of our clients, we do long-term strategic vision. Like, okay, what do you want to accomplish in the next 10 years? Boom, boom, boom. There's literally a timeline every year, quarter, boom, break it down. Awesome. Okay, so married here, engagement here, kids here, boom, boom. So everything has to shift. So she found this safari. She wants to do it with her sister. And immediately, we have to shift everything to make that fit. So it's like, okay, maybe that leapfrog house in 2027 doesn't need to happen. What if we could stick it out? She literally asked me that. She said, what if we could stick it out and actually live here for 10 years because they just got a new home? It's like, and I asked her this. I said, okay, how many kids are you guys intending on, assuming everything goes well? She said 2, maybe 3. I said, okay, could you imagine, worst case scenario, raising 3 children for the next decade in that house to wait for the dream home? Because the dream home's pretty substantial and they're going to need to build some wealth. And she said, I think so. I think we could do a bathroom in the basement because the only problem with this house is, yeah, it's small, but it's not that bad. There's only one bath. I said, okay. Well, she's like, okay, well, his dad's a plumber. He's going to help us with the plumbing. We're going to get a bathroom. So here's the deal. My point of this is the moment that you add something into your future that's a goal or a dream, bucket list, whatever it might be, now you have to change the way in which you do things. And the point of this success loop is anytime you're in a success loop, this is the unfortunate part, and this is why most people don't stay in success loops long, is because she basically has to take a social status hit in the short term in order to have this $4,000 trip in their roadmap. So for the next 10 years, they might look like, quote unquote, they're not winning, when in reality, when they get the horsey farm, they're going to be overnight successes. And I just can't stand how that's so misunderstood. It's like, it's really cool to save money. That's way cooler than spending money.
For sure.
But unfortunately, rappers like to buy giraffes.
Rappers buy a bunch of dumb shit. People in general buy a bunch of dumb shit, but rappers, for some reason, especially.
And they make it seem cool when in reality they're not fulfilled a lot of the time. Not always.
Well, and many of them are very broke behind the scenes. You just don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. The life cycle of a rapper is very short. I mean, the life cycle of a successful rapper is just very short. Very few people make it a decade in an industry like that. What's the... I feel like it's kind of a dumb question, but this is what I was thinking. I think of it as treading water. So some people are like actively swimming. There's other people who are treading water. I feel like treading water is kind of in the doom loop, but I think giving up is when you start to sink.
Yeah.
That's kind of when you give up. So
well, what did you think about frameworks, loops, doom loop, success loop? No matter what goal you have, no matter what dream you have, heart-driven but no BS, holistic self-improvement for dream chasers. One of the best examples of this is in order to actually build muscle, sometimes you have to get fluffy in order to do so. You're going to, if you have abs right now and you want to build muscle, you're probably going to have to temporarily lose your abs. Like right now, I'm shooting for 205. I'm getting a little bit fat, and it's hard for me to see myself get fatter, for lack of better phrasing. Maybe fat's the wrong label, but I'm getting fluffy for sure.
Yeah.
But I know that it'll be worth it when I rip it up and I have much more muscle. So everything's like that. That's the way the world's set up. It's almost like you have to temporarily take away things, social status now, and for more status later, or for more results later. And so if you're going for social status, you're almost guaranteed to lose because you are trying to hang on to something that inevitably needs to go in order to...
You might win now, but you're going to lose eventually.
Yeah.
That's all it is if you're playing purely, and I know we talked about this a lot on the last episode, we've been diving into like the social versus real world. If you're optimizing for social, you probably have like 2 to 5 years. But eventually it turns when... imagine this. There's a person who works out so they can put their workout on social media versus a person who works out behind the scenes. Nobody sees them. They're sweating all the time. They're pushing themselves. They're failing. Their workouts are ugly. Nobody would want to watch their workouts. In 5 years, I'm willing to bet that second person is going to be in better shape.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. Somebody asked me recently on a podcast, they said, what's your financial philosophy? I was like, just do what Alan tells me, pretty much. But if I had to have my own
gift cards that don't work.
Yeah, right now that's no, I got it to work. It works
Nice.
it works on Amazon. Everything
Nice.
works on Amazon.
Strong work.
But nowhere else, evidently. Car wash, nope. Gas station, nope. Restaurants, nope. Can't use it. I literally went to the car wash, like, let me see if it works. I'll get a cheap car.
What kind of gift card? Is it like a credit card gift
It's a
card?
Visa. It's a Visa.
Yeah. Damn.
It's $200 or something. We got $800 in gift cards. What the freak am I going to do
Next
with all
time,
that?
just ask for straight cash, homie.
Well, now I know. Straight cash only. Can't go wrong. But what was I saying? Oh, now it's almost like the more access to money, and again, I understand this is going to sound privileged in a way, but sit with me. The more access to money I have, the less exciting my life has gotten because I have to and I want to save more. in a
Yeah.
weird way. It's like you have the most money in the bank account that I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm literally thinking tonight, it's like, all right, UFC's on. It's free. That's cool. I'm either going to go with a wrap or pizza. Like, which one's cheaper? Well, if I get a large thin crust, that'll hit my calories. And I was like, that's probably going to be cheaper. 18
Nice.
bucks. No, not cheaper. The wrap is actually cheaper. So I think I'm going to go with the wrap.
Nice.
But it's literally, that's kind of the thought process now. And that's very, 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 very weird for me.
NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
Now, here's the weird thing. If I had that thought process 5 years ago, I'd have way more money than I do now. But I didn't.
Yeah, for sure.
But I didn't because I wanted to, not 5 years ago necessarily, but I wanted to look like I was winning. I wanted to look like I had nice things. And oftentimes that created something behind the scenes where I didn't really have that nice of things. And I think a really good way to think about it and a really good way to look at it is right now there's somebody that you know that's taking vacations all over the place. Or they're buying a bunch of shit. They have a bunch of cars. Like, where the hell do you get all the money for that? Unless they are balling, which they could be, they most likely have very bad philosophies around money. And in 10 years, things are probably going to look drastically different. Well, if you're pinching pennies and you're using coupons and you're using stuff that probably seems somewhat embarrassing, that's going to be the thing that is a massive strength eventually. Just like there's two people. One person wants to speak, or both people want to speak. One person just doesn't speak because they say, you know what, I don't really want to look bad. So they look good in front of the scenes. They don't really ever speak. They put pictures up. Their pictures are all catered. They look good. They're on vacation, all this stuff.
They rent a Harvard classroom for $10,000.
They could do that, but
they
they
can
don't.
do that.
They don't. But they're not speaking. They take a picture.
Yeah, they take pictures. No
Take
audience. They can literally, brutal.
Second person,
Wildly unethical, in my opinion.
it's the most unethical. Second person does a video every day, and at the beginning they are garbage, and they're not good. Cool. If for the first year, I won't even say that. There will be an amount of time, it depends on how much it is for you, I don't know, where people don't believe in you, where they laugh at you, and that other person looks like they're winning more than you. But 5 years down the line, 7 years down the line, 10 years down the line, you go to a wedding with that person. And that person is speaking at the wedding, and you're speaking at the wedding. You are going to blow them out of the fucking water.
Nice.
And it's not even going to be close. Nobody will know what you went through to get there. And honestly, it's a wedding. Everybody's going to be drunk.
You
They're
won't
probably
get
not-
invited to the wedding because you won't have any friends.
You might
'cause you'll
not
be
get
too
anybody-
busy behind the scenes
It's
speaking.
it's very possible. And most of the people at the wedding are probably under the influence, so they don't care. It's not like they're like, oh my goodness, what a beautiful display of communication. They're probably not going to care.
Communication. You
But-
hit all 25 impact
but
points.
you
for
will.
active communication.
But you will, and you'll feel good about that. And
Yeah.
there's something to be said about that. It's very common after a heartbreak, people disappear. And I think people disappear for two reasons. One, because they're just trying to compose themselves and they're riding the struggle bus. Been there. Other one is they go into that mode of, I am just going to grow. And I don't care who sees. I don't care if anybody sees. I'm going to go be myself. I'm going to grow. And in a year or 2 years, I'm going to come out as a completely different human. Again, insert Rocky or any inspirational movie montage here, but you get the point.
Yeah, best thing ever. Love it. I think about this a lot. I've had a lot of clients ask me, like, what do you do? Like, how have you dealt with this? How did you deal with this? How did you deal with this? Because as you get more successful, there's a lot of shit that comes with it. I'm acting like I'm so successful.
You
I'm
are
sorry. The most ever of all time. No, but I'm more successful than I used to be. And there's all these things that come with it. It's like, I said, let it drive you. Let it drive you.
See, that's always hard because that never worked for me.
Yeah.
I wish it did.
What are you driven by? You're not driven by the fact that you were written off? Dude, I absolutely am driven by that.
No, because I wrote myself off more than anybody else did.
Damn.
That is the truth.
I appreciate it.
I won't play the victim card on that. Like, I had you believed in me, Matt believed in me, Taryn believed. I had a lot of people that believed in me. My mom never sat me down and said, hey, there's no way you can do this. Like, oh, you want to be a professional fighter? It's like, okay, I'm sad for you and for me, but I'll support that. Like, cool. All right, give that a shot.
All right. Well, I think that's another episode, but you got to figure out what drives you. The long-term thinking, I think, is wildly underrated. However, last thing, I know we got to jump. New client, shout out to you. You know who you are. I'll keep it anonymous. We did the sort of vision thing where we close our eyes on the call, and I say, okay, think about yourself tomorrow. Got it? Okay. Week from now. Got it? Okay. Month from now. Got it? Okay. Quarter from now. Got it? Starts getting blurry, right? But she said, but the long-term vision is there. And she mapped it out with me. It's like, okay, so you're going to start this company, you're going to do this. And I know she's not full of it. This person is going to do this. I can tell. I don't know how I can tell. I think it's just sensory acuity over time, coaching for so many hours, thousands. I figured this out, Kev. This is brand new for me.
Okay, let's hear it.
Some people can only think short-term. Some people can think short-term and very long-term spiritually. Like they have a vision or a picture of it, very long-term. But she said, the whole middle's blurry. Oh, I've got the middle. I can teach you the how. Go from here to there. That's my jam. I'm an engineer. Let's do this. That's really interesting because I connected a lot of dots because there have been clients in the past where they'll say these big things and then they'll do these other things and they don't connect. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? And I always would playfully say, I've never once said, hey, I'm going to build, Next Level University and it's going to have a global impact and then like go to the beach. And Kev would say that never lands.
Yeah, no, not really.
That doesn't land at all?
No, because it's like, that's because you're essentially 99% putting your time into this. It's like, you're just more committed than most people. But there's other people that have companies that can go to the beach. It's just not it's different for us.
Fair. This person, when I first started coaching her, I was so pumped about this. She said, oh, Alan, don't worry about it. I'll work 80-hour weeks if I have to. I was like, oh, we're going to be fine. I can, whatever. What do you want? What do you need? What are you going to do? You're awesome. We're going to be fine. If you're not willing to work, I mean, there's very little that you can actually do. And I know that sounds hardcore, but like if you don't have work ethic, you can't achieve big things.
That's fair.
Without lying or
and even with
unethical.
A coach.
Yeah,
like
even
you
with
can have
the
best coach in the world. If that coach can't get you to take action, it doesn't matter.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm grateful that we're really talking about that. But ultimately, this is brand new for me. There were people in the past that had these big visions, but what they did in the present didn't connect to it. Now I know why. She was just really honest I have no idea. The whole middle is blurry. Okay. Mm-hmm. The how is my favorite part. The how is the success in the doom loop. Let's just create a success loop. There's going to be failure in there. There's going to be pain in there. You can't have joy, success, fulfillment, and extraordinary results without sadness, pain, failure, rejection. Like it's a pendulum. And in the success loop is always a trade-off. It's okay, I'm going to deal with the fact that I'm going to only have one car for the next 5 years. Right? But Emilia and I, we're going to build our future on building wealth. And we're going to sacrifice one car to make sure that we have that extra money in the snowball. And, we'll talk about that another
Well, you
episode,
share your wealth with me.
I'll send you a Visa gift card. No, but
appreciate that.
We're building wealth at NLU. I mean, it's a
I'm
company, right? I know you are.
But
last
personally
question,
with me,
I know we got to jump.
With me personally, you'll give me some of your money also?
I'll send you an autograph to 10 by 9
10 by 9
of me on my yacht. I'm kidding.
I knew that guy. See that guy? I used to work with him.
I used to podcast with him. Kev,
yes.
Last question. I know we got to jump. Someone who used to, with all the love, be in a doom loop without knowing it.
Big time.
What do you suggest to anyone there? And what do they need to accept in advance about a success loop?
Success doesn't feel like success for most of it. It almost feels it feels like the doom loop with momentum and hopefulness. Like the first time you go from the doom loop to the success loop, it's not really going to feel any different. If anything, you might be more scared because you're going to be outside of your comfort zone. It might not go that well, and this is just me being honest. But you might have a new reinstilled level of belief that says, you know what? Okay, not ideal. It wasn't an ideal outcome. But at least I went in the arena. At least I dipped my toe. At least I got exposure to that feeling. It didn't kill me. I think that's one of the things is we're afraid that the thing we're so afraid of is going to kill us, and when we go do it and it doesn't kill us, it gives us a little bit more belief. Again, I don't know any other way. I don't have a hack. I don't have a 5-second rule. I don't have any of that for this because it requires action. If the 5-second rule helps you take action, run that until the well dries up. But you need to get some new level of proof. And
How
I
do you
think
do
that's
stuff
all it
that
is.
scares you? How do you always do stuff that scares you?
I don't really have a choice. I've already determined in my mind that I don't have a choice. Some stuff I don't have to do because it's like it doesn't make sense, to go lay in a snake pit. There's really no function for that. It doesn't make any sense. But if
the meta thing that you talked about in the last episode, you went to the metaverse and you were interviewed. Were you scared for that?
Definitely.
Okay. How did you overcome that?
I looked at
do it anyway.
No, yes, and I looked at the fact that I have 3,000 and some odd episodes that I've done. So like, Kev, you've done this so many times. I know you're
actually
scared.
Thought about that?
Yes, I always do. I know you're scared, but think about it from a conscious, logical. You've done this 3,000 times. Like, you don't know anybody who has done as many of these as you have. You're gonna be okay. I know you're scared.
Did you think that by 3,000 you wouldn't be scared?
I thought by 200 I wouldn't be scared. Never mind 3,000.
What a huge letdown that is.
I'm convinced that, well, that's why I try to tell it like it is. I don't know if I'll ever not be scared. I'm not scared to do this. Right? This is very in my comfort zone right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't for the first 150. So you need to get some level of proof. That's what I would sit Kev down and say, Kev, of course you're scared of doing it. You've never done it. And you have built it up to this giant monster that it is not. Your imagination is powerful. Mm-hmm. And right now, you're using it in a way to anchor you as opposed to catapult you.
Nice.
Is what I would say. All right. Next Level Nation. Join Next Level Nation, our private Facebook group. We'll have the link in the show notes. If you're looking for community, right? That's a big part of getting out of the doom loop and into the success loop. Having the right people around you will have that for you. The meetup is this Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have that link in there. Dreamliner, website, Alan's coaching, Next Level Live 2025. We got a lot of stuff going on, and we would love for you to be a part of as much of it as you want. So all that stuff will be in the show notes. Go ahead, brethren.
If you're out there, thank you, brother. There's 168 hours in a week, and you have sleep, you have work, you have fitness, you have all these things. Heart-driven, but no BS. Holistic self-improvement for dream chasers. Time is the thing we're never getting back. Kevin and I are not getting any younger. Okay? I don't want to wake up 10 years from now and go, what the hell did I do with my time? The meetup is going to help you be more effective with your time so that you can achieve your goals quicker. I hope that you join us.
Boom. And it's free. It's free.
It's free.
Free value. Podcast.
100% free.
Yeah, a little bit deeper.
Register. Link is in the show notes. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we're sending them to the website. I'm going to send the production team the link to this one.
Whilst you do that, I will get us on out of here. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. At NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Stay next level. Next Level Nation.